Hello, and welcome to the third video in my series on how to give yourself the best chance of getting a job. In this video, I'll cover 10 highly effective hints and tips to make sure that your interview goes as well as possible. If you get through the video and decide that you want to do a mock interview with some feedback before your interview, click on the link to the Fiverr page in the description below for more details. So, 10 top tips. Here we go. First off, arrive early. You don't want to rush into an office for an interview or log on to a Zoom call with seconds to spare. Interviews are stressful enough without the added pressure. If it's face-to-face, be outside the building 15 minutes early and head into the building 10 minutes early. This means that you'll be punctual without being so early that you throw off the interviewer's day. If your interview is online, check your IT a day beforehand. Make sure that you don't spend precious few minutes prior to an interview downloading an upgrade to Teams or Zoom app. I've been there and it's horrible. Tip 2, and this should go without saying, be nice to people. Treat everyone in the building with respect. Ask people how their day's been, maybe make some small talk. Let people experience a bit of what you're like. Of course you'll feel nervous, but treat this like the start of the interview and get people on side straight away. People talk after all. This third tip might not be to everyone's taste. I like to have a story up my sleeve that's disarming, something that's interesting that's happened that day. You can even make it up, but it means that when the question of how are you comes, it means that you can start the interview with something better than fine, thank you. You might say, well, actually, I'm hoping that my day's going to get a bit better. I was getting organised this morning and my son managed to get some jam over my favourite shirt, so I've had to raise my wardrobe and it's put me a bit behind today. Or you might say, do you know what? I'm glad that I got here in plenty of time because I've been walking around in circles trying to find this place. Directions aren't my strong point. Now, I do this because it helps to break barriers. You've shared with them something personal about yourself, and that creates a human connection. The interviewer will instantly feel like they know you better than other candidates. Trust me, it will break barriers and get the interviewer on side, and it will help to settle your nerves too. I've kept the two examples short though, and so should you. Don't head off on a 2-minute story, 20 seconds max. Tip 4 is to do your homework. Do a bit of research on the interviewer and the business that you're applying for. This goes down well, but don't force it. If you complain something about the interviewer personally, that tends to land quite well. You might want to do it towards the end of the interview when you'll probably get the chance to ask questions. You might say, well, I saw on LinkedIn that you've had a number of different roles here. It's clearly somewhere that you can build a career. Can you maybe tell me a bit more about the firm's training and development policy? Tip 5 lies in the prep work for the interview itself. Now, this is probably the most important tip. You're going to get asked questions and you need to provide examples. When doing this, you need to be concise in your answers. And I'd use something called the STAR method. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. I think for an interview, you should probably have 5 examples of experience that you can call upon. You should use the requirements or competencies of the job advert to figure these out. If you've not got work experience, it's not a problem. Draw on things in your life. Imagine that you're straight out of university and you get asked about leadership, for example. The question might be, give me an example of when you've had to work and lead others through a difficult task. Here's how I might apply the STAR technique. When I was at university, we were often given group projects where we were all responsibility for the outcome of a piece of work. This meant we all had to work together in order to get a collective grade. That's the situation. One of these projects was to come up with a new web page. The page needed to have information from what we'd learned on the course, but we also had to come up with the design and get a demo built. That's the task. Here's the important bit, the action. And by that, I mean the specific action that you took. It was clear to me that there was a need for organisation and leadership to make this work. So I created a weekly forum for us to come together and manage the project. I set the agenda at the start, which made sure everyone knew their areas of responsibility. It turned out to be useful because it meant that when one of the team had fallen behind and stopped attending the meetings, I was able to follow up on this and found out that they'd had a few issues at home. I was able to take on some of the additional load and support them until they were in a better place. Now, up to this point, it had been a real-world example for me. Truth be told, it's slightly embellished around the specific structure, but it's broadly true. Finally, we move to the result. As a result of this organisation and my intervention, we presented our work on time and as a team. We got an A grade for this, and Scott, who had helped, would regularly introduce me to others in a really positive way after this. We actually became really good friends. Whew. Tip 5 done. Hopefully you see how this works. I'd have 5 of these written out beforehand and practiced so that you're slick with them. Right, last 5 tips, I'm going to blast through them. Tip 6, research the company and have an answer for the question, why would you like to work here? I'm not going to give you an example for that one. You need to figure the detail out yourself. But if you have any great examples, I'd love to see them in the comments below. Tip 7, know your weaknesses. If this job is a stretch for you and it requires some skills that you don't have yet, be honest and then have an answer for why you think you'll be able to overcome this quickly and acquire the skill. Knowing the areas that you need to work on and demonstrate that you have a plan is a huge positive. There's nothing worse than being caught out trying to be something that you're not. Tip 8, have a pre-planned answer for the tell me about yourself question. Don't fall into the trap of recounting your life story, and there's a good chance that the interviewer doesn't need to know about your dog's name. That's not what they're looking for. This is your chance to shine and really sell yourself. I'd really think of 3 key selling points about yourself and be ready to tell the interviewer about these. Again, have these documented and try to learn them as best you can. For example, one might be, I went to Dundee University, and despite not being my first choice, I ended up doing accountancy as a degree. I'm actually really glad that I did, because it turns out that I was really good at it. For some reason, the numbers and accounting rules just made sense to me, and it gave me a really good understanding of how accounting works in practice. This is much better than recounting the fact that you went to university for 4 years. Tip 9. Have a few questions ready at the end of the interview. You'll get the opportunity to ask, and you have to take it, even if you don't have any burning questions. You need to show that you're interested, if nothing else. Here are a few of my favourites. 1. Can you outline what the rest of the process and timeline looks like? 2. I saw online that the business has been through some mergers recently. What's the feeling and culture like in the business? And 3. Is there anything in my interview that's raised any questions or concerns that I can address for you? I particularly like the last one because it gives you a chance to address any niggling concerns that they might have about you. Finally, tip 10, try and relax. I've given you a few icebreakers that will help, but try to remember that an interviewer is human too. They know it's not easy being interviewed, so try and keep calm, and if you mess up, don't panic. Put it to the back of your mind and start again. Trust me, people in the room want you to do well. And there you go, my top 10 tips. Good luck with your interview. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this, or my series in fact, hit the like and subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss out on any future videos. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.